Hey there. Can you hear me? I know the mic's low right now. I'm going to, I'm actually tracking a guitar thing. So I got to try to figure out how to do this one thing I want to do at the end of this track. So bear with me. I'm actually recording a session right now. I can play the guitar from it. It's really interesting because I'm having to retune for each chord. So now I'm trying to figure out how to play. I guess I can do that. Let me try that. I'm temper tuning, so I'm tuning right where I'm playing because my intonation isn't perfect. No guitar is, but... I don't know, I need to go on this track. See if I can get this to work. I gotta start on beat 3. Sorry. I don't know if you can hear this. Okay. So I'm done. This might get, I think I'm in standard right now. We may have a sip coming up. So, all right. So let me save this. Oh, I hadn't saved. See, that's so dangerous when I don't save something. Ugh. Crazy. Okay, I'm sorry. You guys, okay. Yeah, I'm working. You guys are just watching me work. All right, let me get everything set up here. Hold on. The way we normally have it. I was trying to get this done, and I thought I could make it, and it was just more complex than I thought, which is a good thing because I love complex. Okay, now we're back up to level here. Check 1, 2. You can go a little hotter. I just don't want to get into the red. Yeah, I just upped the audio. I had it for that point, for that moment. I needed it to be quiet. So let me turn off my mics because I don't want to get feedback. And then I can solo these, but I'm hoping, okay, I don't want to get feedback. Let me turn this down. All right. So here's basically what I did. I had to, for this game, I'm probably going to hear issues when I play it, so I may end up redoing it later when I'm not in a hurry. Hold on, let me open my doors so I get air ventilation. Although it's not hot today, and I am wearing pants, as we can see. So. Oh, dang it, Kathy. I'm so sorry. Ugh. Hope it's nothing serious. Okay. So here's what I it's like when I printed up the MIDI, this is what I got. It's pretty see, this is one of the problems with MIDI, all these notes just kind of tie in together. But basically it's just rolled chords. So like this first chord, and he wants everything, or on the MIDI, because he's doing a MIDI guitar, right? On piano, you can roll a chord and hold the pedal down and it'll ring out. And this composer, he always says, don't reinvent the guitar for me, but he always says, you can revoice it. You can play it the way it can be played. And I could sit here and go, well, I could, and I couldn't get it. So all of these notes, I could probably, if I really wanted to. Let's see, if I went. Oh, let's see. See, that's 2 to F. Take a sip. I didn't know it was F. But the first chord is F, C, D, G, A flat, and C. And this is how I played it. See. Which was ringy enough. I could have had it so I had all 6 notes ringing out if I tuned the B string down to A flat and I tuned the E string down to C. Then that all could have. Let's see. The only thing I'm losing is that open G string. Then the next chord was, and the same thing. It's like this one would have been really tough to tune to. But what I did was, because I've got the bottom string tuned to F, so I let that rings out really well. Because it would have been tough to hit the F and do all of this machinations. So I just went ahead and tuned the E up to F so that I have that open string there on the bottom. It rings out really nice. And then in the midst of it, I broke the G string. I was tuning down, not up. I was tuning down and the string just went wah. And it's because the strings are really old. And so I went and I have a bunch of the Elixir polywebs, which are the heavy coating. And it almost sounds like an old string, which I like. I like the sound of an old string. I used to love the sound of bright new strings. And I must say happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Kathy, let's see, who else? If you're a mother, say, I'm a mother. Say, I'm a mother. And then what was the next one? Was like that one, which, so that's another one. And then the next one was E. So then I had to go, okay. So I had to tune back to E. And then it was B flat. So I tuned to B flat. And I just did. That was the chord. And what I did was I created 2 tracks so that I could do the first chord, and then on the second track I did the second chord, and I tried to mute them at the end of each phrase, but that way they could ring. If I were to try to play this live, it would be impossible. Just be impossible. You would totally have to reinvent. I mean, you would totally have to substitute chords. I couldn't play what was last. But the last chord was, he wanted, well, I'll play it for you. You can hear the final product, I think. I don't know. We'll see how it sounds. I'm not mixed or anything. This is just, and you probably don't care. But. I think I heard a bird chirp right here. No, that was outside. Good. Games are getting more sophisticated. Almost done. This is the last one. That's what you heard me record that last bit. It's pretty cool, though. I love this composer. He writes the most interesting music and unbelievably challenging. I don't know what the game is called, though. It's in the it's very haunting. It's in the very early stages. Actually, one of the most difficult sessions I ever did. It was a whole series of sessions. Because he'll send me music, and this could go on for months for one game, where he just keeps sending me stuff and I keep adding to it. And what was the one, I posted it here before, but maybe open this up and bookmark it and check it out. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was so much work. And I think I was playing mandolin. Let's see. Nope, this isn't the playlist. Dang it. Somewhere I've got the playlist. Oh, there it is. Boom, 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 boom. I wanted to post a video of, yeah, so this was, I don't even know what these are. Music kits. I don't know what that is. It's a gamer thing. Wow, it has almost 600,000 views. Let me get the copy. I've had people ask me if I could teach it, show it on teach how to play it. But okay, so let me say hi. Let me get some highs in here. Let's get high. And we're going to be low today because I'm assuming because everybody should be and better be with their mother if their mother is near and alive. My mom passed away back in 2017, and was awesome. We brought her to California, and at the end of her life, and so she spent the last couple of years with us, and it was the best thing I ever did. I went, like I said before, I went from seeing her. Cheers. I went from seeing her once a year to seeing her every day, multiple times a day, and we could look out our front apartment window, and I could see her sitting on her porch, and it was like the most amazing thing. Unfortunately, she wasn't really all there. Her eyes and her ears were gone largely, and her memory was also going badly. But I would walk in a door. I would try to give her, because of her, I don't know if she had Alzheimer's or senility. Never had her tested for it per se. The doctor didn't think it was Alzheimer's, but she definitely was, not completely there and couldn't remember anything short term. But I would walk in the room and go, "Hello, mother." And she would say, "Hello, Thomas," even though we weren't British. I just would do this faux thing. And that way I would give her a kind of a cue that who I was. If I walked in the door and said, "Hello," or "Hi, Mom," or whatever, she goes, "Oh, who is it?" But if I kind of gave her that vocal cue, she would know who it was. It's funny because I shared the story yesterday about my mom and I canoeing. I wouldn't call it canoeing. We were kind of rotating down the Manistee River in Michigan, like kind of bouncing from shoreline to shoreline off the, and I was as a kid, and I'm sure I said some of the most awful things to my mother because I was so competitively, so competitive and wanting to beat my little sister. And of course I was losing, losing my cool. So I was recounting that story yesterday. So it was probably about the maddest I've ever been at my mom. Ironic that it was the day before Mother's Day. Peter, it's awesome. Yeah, I know. We're so glad we did it. My wife, Beth, was a saint. She was able to take care of my mom. She really had to take care of her at the end, and then we put her in an Alzheimer's home. But the crazy thing is, we moved into that apartment in 1987, and behind the apartment building was a care facility for Alzheimer's patients, and so we would hear sometimes like screaming, and like a couple times when we first moved into the apartment, we called the police because we thought something was horrible was going on. And it just turned out that they were giving someone a bath, and they thought they were being murdered or drowned or something. One time there was an old guy that had gotten out on his balcony, and he had one leg up over the balcony, and he was yelling, "He's gonna break through the ice! He's gonna drown! He's gonna drown!" He was like having a flashback or a hallucination or something. And so we had to. Eventually, we just got the number for the front office, and we'd call them. And of course, they had doors in the back that had alarms on them. And the help would go through the doors and just leave them propped open with the alarms going off sometimes. So anytime we had new tenants move into the building, I would always tell them, if they lived in the back, I said, if you hear screams for bloody murder, it's just the patients, sadly. It was crazy, but to think about that 32 years ago, we moved into that apartment building, or 33 years ago. we moved into that apartment building, and right there behind us was the care facility that for the last 6 weeks of my mom's life, she would be living in. And so that was just a super blessing, because I would go get my coffee, and then on the way back, I would sit with my mom and talk to her for an hour, and then at dinner time, Beth, would go and have dinner with her, and they would let us, eat there for free and stuff. So that was really cool. But yeah, so it's weird. I mean, I remember when my dad passed. I remember when my grandfather passed just a few months before Beth and I got married. He died on July 4th. My grandmother said he went out with a bang. It was my grandmother. Nana was a character. My grandfather was Abu. This is how you spell Abu. That's how you spell Abu. That was my grandfather. And Beth wants me to be called Abu. Let's see. She wants, and Abu is not his name. Abu was his nickname. See, we're getting so many comments. I wish I could keep up with that. Gary, yeah. So it's so frustrating, but it was still fun to sit with her. There was one time we were watching, I think Hill Hauser here in California. He does this like California Gold show, and we're sitting there watching it, and my mom on their sofa, and she looks over at me and goes, "Are we dating?" And I said, "Mom, no, I don't think so. That would be kind of inappropriate." And she goes, "Well, that's good. I wouldn't want to have to entertain you." And I was like, I don't want to know what entertain me means. It was like, oh man, I'm a mother too. Yes, I am the mother of all guitar teachers. No. But anyway, so yeah, what did you think of that music? Was that pretty crazy, huh? And then that other one I posted, you can check that out later. The never-ending chord, exactly. Oh no, it's very cool the way it turned out. I mean, he's gonna love this last chord. I mean, that's not at all playable on the guitar. So I reinvented the guitar for him again, and he hates it. He goes, "Don't do that." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I like your voicings. Why would I change anything?" Yes, definitely. Playing music is good for prevention of dementia. That's right, Tom. I've heard that. I hope my goal is I don't really plan on retiring. I always say that I will retire when the phone stops ringing. And the thing is so many of the people I work with, I mean, I don't think any of my clients are older than me. And one of the main guitar players in town, one of the top guys that's played on 1,000 movies, probably many of which you've seen, he's about to retire, I heard. And so that will definitely help. I've already gotten a couple calls from composers that had used him in the past. So hopefully that will increase my work. But I'm working quite a bit. Is anyone getting this to submit to Tom's? What's that now? I don't have a Wikipedia. That's one of the things I need to do before someone creates one for me. I'd be afraid. But I do have an IMDb, and it's pretty thorough. I keep it updated. I update my own IMDb, and Amazon, who owns IMDb, trusts me to do it correctly. I'm not adding myself as composer of the music for Star Wars or anything like that. People do that, and then they get blocked. Anyway, yeah, so I plan on to continue to work as long as I have the facility. My ears, that's my biggest concern, is that I'm going to burn out my ears. Even recording this thing with the earbuds, it was, I could have done it with one ear in, that might have been better, but basically when I'm wearing ears, I hear distortion that's not there. And it's not loud. I'm not playing loud. It's just acoustic guitar. But I'm hearing it and I think my guitar's buzzing, and then I've had to teach myself that that's not the issue, and I have to listen to the track and make sure. And when I listen to the track in the room, it's like that's not buzzing, it's not rattling, but my guitar does sometimes rattle. That's why I would think that, because sometimes if I hit I think it's usually like a D note. The D notes really make it rattle, and so that guitar is actually headed to the shop soon. So, but yeah, so I plan on working until the phone stops ringing, and like I said, most of my clients are younger than me, and some of them are. I mean, I'm writing a lot with 21-year-old kids, So, and hopefully over time the royalties. The thing with royalties, if you don't keep that pipeline full, if the TV shows that you write for stop airing, or if the songs that you co-wrote, stop playing on the radio, then the money's going to run out. I remember I was at a guitar store back in the day when Hollywood on Sunset Boulevard? Or is it Hollywood Boulevard? I think it's Sunset Boulevard where Guitar Center was and all. Well, Guitar Center's still there, and Sam Ash is across the street, but that's pretty much it. But there used to be all these great vintage guitar stores. In fact, I bought that G&L. No, I bought that from Manny's. That's right. I bought that from I brought that from Manny's in New York. But the one in Manny's was on, what street was that? David, do you know what street that was on? Manny's was on. That was the block in New York. That was was it 32nd Street? What's it called? The street that has all the guitar stores on it in New York City. But Hollywood in that one intersection. I can't remember the north-south street, but I think it was Sunset. There were so many great guitar stores. And I was in one of the stores, and I was just, talking to a guy, and I said, "Oh, what do you do?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm a songwriter." And these earbuds actually are really good. And I just had them serviced. I did blow out the tweeter or the sub in one of these, and it was all distorted. But these are about $1,000, and they're great. But I do think part of it's the pressure that is created because these seal off all air, so you can't hear anything outside of them, which is great. But it does create this kind of weird air compression or distortion that happens. So, David is not here yet. That's right. He was going to be late. And then his mother also he takes care of his parents, so I'm sure he's with his mom, hopefully. But I was talking to this guy, and I said, "What do you do?" He's a songwriter. And I said, "Oh, you written anything I know?" And he said, "Yeah, I wrote Let's Get Physical for Olivia Newton-John." And I said, "Well, let me ask you a question." And he said, "What?" And I said, "Well, that song was big in the 80s, and it's been 20 years now. It was about 25 years later." I said, "Is it starting to generate a lot of revenue now again? Because, stations are kind of going back to the 80s and playing a lot of 80s music?" He said, "No." He said, "That song has been generating revenue nonstop since it was a hit." And I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, and I could look it up and see which one it was, which one of because I think it was two guys that wrote it, and I think I could remember the guy's name if I saw the name written. He said, "Yeah, because gyms all over the country use it for their jingles. So every time they license it, he gets a big check." And I was like, you're right. Let's get physical. That was basically Toto. That's one of those songs that's basically, Toto, because they were doing all the session work in LA. Jeff Porcaro and David Paich and Lukather, even David Hungate, Steve Porcaro. All those guys were just killing the session work back then. And so that's Lukather on the guitar, and I think it's Jeff Porcaro on drums. I do have a Jeff Porcaro story that I could share. He's one of my favorite drummers who passed away years and years ago. He was a drummer for Toto, but even more so, he was a drummer for everybody back in the day. So if I remember, when it comes to story time, we can talk about Jeff Porcaro. So I prepared a bunch of, and I unfortunately did not create enough scenes for him yet. I need to delete some of these scenes, like these. I mean, I guess I can keep these, but we're not going to go back to them, so I don't really need to keep these scenes. I love those, though. It was really good stuff, right? Memories, like the corners of your eye. Create a montage. Oh my gosh. I hope I don't lose chat again. Somebody say something. It's been a while since I've seen chat. Okay, we got 37 people. Uh-oh, chat rate's down to 1. Dang it, I lost chat again. What the heck? Did I really lose chat? Oh, no, good. I did not. Okay, you guys are just not being chatty. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do. I came up with some just a couple things. Almost more. Good morning, Baka Cat. I have been to. No, I have not been to Grunt Guitars in Nashville. I'm sorry. I was thinking someplace else. Yeah, they have a great collection. There's also Mandolin Brothers in Michigan somewhere. I think is it Grand Rapids? And I've never been there, even though I've been in the area. Or is it Lansing? I think it's East Lansing. Did I delete you? No, I would never do that. Yeah, the scenes are cool. So I created 12 different variations on the eighth note strumming pattern we did yesterday. So this one here, that thing. I came up with 12 different variations. I created a scene with 4 of them. And this is going to be very, very academic. And I can create more here. Another scene with more of these in it. I could totally do that. But it's going to be like watching an episode of CSI. I'm on the computer here. I'm Googling. Is Joe a murderer? Joe's a murderer. Oh my gosh. Okay. Crime solved. Man, thank you, Google. Yeah, Norm's I've been to, but many times. I bought my 335 at Norm's. My son has, Jordan is Norm's son. And my son Alex has done a lot of recording with Jordan. Jordan's an interesting cat. And Gary, thank you, Gary, for these are the Tom's 10 command sips. These are the rules. If I break a rule, you need to have some libation handy. My drink of choice is Starbucks, and I'm almost empty, so hopefully I'm just going to pace myself. Yes, so if I touch my face, which we're not supposed to do in the coronavirus era, if I refer to myself in the third person, Tom never does that. If I change guitars, I have played a guitar, but I'm going to pick it up again, so this doesn't count. And then if I don't know what tuning I'm in, I guess that's one of them too. Forget thine tuning. Yeah, there it is right there. If I use air quotes, not in describing air quotes, although I love saying air quotes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's see, what are the other ones? If I had a band in high school called something, which I'm prone to say, I want my tombstone to read, Tom had 1,500 bands in high school. Let's see, if I stated my involvement in Apex Legends, I did do all the guitars in Apex Legends. If I leavest the room, which I didn't do, I opened the door, that doesn't count. If I say there shall be no quiz, that is a celebratory sip, and my lid keeps coming off. Dang it. Okay. And then if I drop my pick, which doesn't happen very often, although if we're going to be doing strumming, that may happen. Also, I forgot to mention yesterday when we started strumming, if you're having trouble with a pick, you could go with a thinner pick. This light gray one is 88 millimeters. This one's 1.1. I love these because they're kind of color coded. And the lighter they are, the thinner they are, which makes perfect sense. This is 60. See that? And then this one is, I've got somewhere here. This one is 46, really thin, like a piece of paper almost. They're really cool. Look at that. Isn't that dope? So if they're laying on a table, you can go, oh, you got all these options, and they all especially from the player's perspective, they all have radically, not radically different, but different tones. And even volumes. Literally, the heavier the pick, I feel like it's louder. It's probably not always true, but yeah, Rick, I started with a thinner pick too. I can't remember. I think I started with Fender mediums. I don't even know if I have any of those. When I was a kid, you know, the ones that look like fake tortoise. Does anybody have an actual tortoise shell pick? Those you're not allowed to buy and sell anymore, but if you have one, it's not illegal. Or maybe you can, if they're old, you might be able to buy them. I don't know. I think that would be a problem though. So what we did was I played drum grooves. I could probably put a groove up in here. What's our tempo here? I'm gonna have to, on this piece of music here, I'm gonna have to go like this over here, create some kind of thing. Go add drummer, choose a genre. I think I'll do songwriter. This is such a great software. Oh, the problem is I just created one way down here. I don't want it way down here. This cue is 200 bars long, 200 measures long. This cue that I just worked on, that I just played for you. So it just set up a drummer at bar 1. I don't want a drummer at bar 1 all the way down there. Okay, so here's what that sounds like. Let's turn this off. Oh, the tempo is 115, so I'm gonna have to change the tempo. I'll go back to 80 because I feel like that's a pretty good. Oh wow, there's a million tempo changes in this thing. Typical for a score, you'll have a lot of tempo changes. So here's what this sounds like. It's pretty heavy. Variations. Simplify. That's too simple. And that's 80. Yeah, I guess so, 80. Okay. So what that allows us to have is, instead of a click track to strum with. I mean, metronomes are great, and you should definitely play along. But if you're a Mac person, you have GarageBand. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my windows organized here a little better. If you have Apple, you have GarageBand, and I'm sure there's similar programs. I don't know if they would come with PCs, but I'm sure there are similar programs that you can definitely just check my tuning. Everybody tune. Similar programs, but there's all sorts of apps you can have drum patterns with and things like that, and just loop them and set the tempo, whatever tempo you're working at, and it's more fun to play with than just a metronome click. It's a little bit boring. Plus, I think it's a little bit more realistic to ultimately what you're going to do. And then the other thing that's great about it is you could sit down and try to imitate with your strumming grooves, and that's really where most strumming grooves come from, is guitar players trying to imitate drummers. And so you can definitely come up with a bunch of patterns that way too. And we'll maybe get a chance to talk about how to do that later. But this was the pattern. And I think I want to do a chord change. We could do like E minor to A2. So I'm playing basically E minor. I'm playing just because I want some kind of change. Or we could even do this. We could go so that we don't have to worry about missing a string. We could go E. We could just go E to E sus. That makes more sense. That way we can just hit all 6 strings. Yes, you're right, Tom. I didn't think about that. There's tons of drum tracks on YouTube. The only thing is, are they in tempo? Can you choose your tempo? Of course, you can adjust it, which is really cool. Let's see. What do I want? I want I know this just so my Black Squire is tuned down a half step, so I'm not picking it up without knowing that it's tuned. So you can't take a sip there. All right, so we could go E, which is, for those who don't know, these are fret numbers, 0, 2, 2, 1, 0, 0, to E sus, which is shorthand for E sus 4, but everybody just writes E sus. Back in the day, we write E sus 4, and that's that. So basically, E is, First finger on the first fret of the third string, second finger on the second fret of the fifth string, and third finger on the second fret of the fourth string. And that's E. And then if we add our pinky on the second fret of the third string, we should probably just leave your first finger on. You don't need to take it off. That creates E sus. All right, let me get my foot rule stool out. 2 and 3. And the reason I want to change chords is so you know where 1 is. We're going to change on 1. We're going to keep it simple. We may, in the future, change on the and of 4, or on the and of 1, or we may change on the and of 2. We may change in different places. But this is just, we're doing the basics. And so what we're going to practice doing now is missing strings. I'm going to show you that in a second here. Let me see how this, oh wait, gotta make this match up. See how this feels. This is 80. Feels a little thin sounding, not a lot going on in there, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, hold on. Let me see if I could answer Baco's question. Baco Cat, what is your question? Where was it? Thank you, Bruce, for pointing that out, and Leo. It's funny, you've got a Dunlop 4.6. Yeah, and you had a 38 that broke. Okay, where is Baco Cat's? Wow, how far back does it go? Oh, there it is. Tom, on picks, does the thinner one sound kind of wimpy? I have a couple of cherished tortoise picks. They are the best sounding picks. Oh, no, yeah, no, tortoise picks sound amazing. Well, not only that, tortoise picks were used on every record in the 50s, 40s, 50s, 60s, even into the 70s until they were illegal. So, yeah, I mean, wimpy, I don't know if that's, wimpy is it thinner, I would say. And sometimes that's the sound you're looking for. Sometimes you want a thinner sound. But yeah, to me, it definitely sounds like, you know, compared to a really heavy pick. You almost, the heavier the pick, almost less pick you hear. But you hear, I don't know if you can tell the difference between those. But the one thing is, though, if you're having trouble with dropping picks when you're strumming, or you're also having trouble with snagging, particularly on up strums, if you're snagging the strings, like doing that kind of thing, then a thinner pick will help kind of take that potential away. With a really heavy pick, you can really snag a string. You could break a string just if you're not paying attention. But the idea is to just kind of keep an even thing going, brushing the strings at this point. So yeah, but this right now I'm using this is the 88, which I like. I like it for strumming. I also have somewhere here I have that blue chip pick that was like $35. Here it is. And yet it's brown, blue chip. It should be blue, but I mean it does sound really good. I don't know how. I really don't know how that it sound any better, but. Oh, thanks. Yeah, Hook. Yeah, if you go to any of my, well, I haven't done it in the last few live streams, but if you go back to any of my videos, in the description of the video, I put a long list of things that I use on a regular basis. Picks, strings, footrest, even mic stands, I think, guitar stands, even the camera, although the camera I use is very old now. I need to upgrade. But those are all Amazon links, and if you click on any one of those, if you just click on the link and then go do grocery shopping, I make something from that, which is cool. But if you don't have to buy the thing that the link is for, just so you know. That's true of anybody that's providing links on Amazon. This is a D35 Baco Cat, so you can tell because it's got 3-piece back. A 28, the 2 I think stands for 2-piece back. 3 stands for 3-piece back. I don't know. Would that mean a 45 has 4-piece back? I don't think a 45 has 4-piece back. So maybe that's not. Somebody's told me that. Now I think about it. 45s I don't think are 4-piece backs. So anyway, let me get back to this groove and let's just play this a little bit longer. 4, 1, and 4 and. So that's a simple little groove. Okay, now what I want to do is I'm going to show you this other scene that I created with some new, let's see, where is it? I think it's right here. Nope, that's yesterday. Boom, there it is. Look at that. Woo, look at all those. Okay, so that's basically similar strumming groove. And what I did was, and I accidentally made the quarter notes purple. It was a thing where I needed to click off of the measure. And I didn't even know when I did the screenshots didn't even notice that they were purple. But it actually kind of helps because what we're going to do is we're going to practice not doing the upstrokes in some spots. So we're going to go, the first one, for example, is 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Okay, there's a couple reasons why I want to do these. And these are we're just going to hold beat 1 in the first example, beat 2 in the second example, beat 3 in the third example, and beat 4 in the fourth example. And it's the main thing is you'll notice for one thing we have 7 notes in a bar. So if you were to do only move your arm when you're hitting strings, right away you would realize that at the next bar it'd start with an upstroke because we have 7 notes. It'd be like 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. And that's super unnatural feeling, and it's not how you should be playing. You should be keeping your arm moving. So we're going to practice 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and we're just using the first example down right here, right there. Okay, we're going to loop that. The other thing I want you to see from this too is just to start to see rhythmic notation. So you can start to see, a quarter note, 2 8s, and then 4 more 8s. And you'll notice that the 2 8s the stems are tied together with a bar. And the last 2 beats are tied together. Those last 4 8th notes are tied together with a bar. This was how Finale, which is a software I'm using, does it naturally or automatically. I could set it so it broke up everything into individual beats, but this is actually pretty easy to look at and read. And if you broke it up into pairs of 8th notes with the bar at the bottom, it might just look a little bit busier. This keeps it a little neater, I think. And so that's why, really, for so much notation, so many of the notation rules are there for speed of reading so that you can just blow through it. Now, all the notation rules were broken on so many. It's like, that's just a piano player holding down chords is what that is. But so that just made a mess. But I know how to read that. It's not a problem. So, okay. So what we're going to do is let's practice without the metronome, without the drum beat. We're just going to play this first one. So make your E chord. It's called Finale. And they have student versions. I've been using it for years. I haven't used it much lately. I think the company may be Making Music. I can't remember. I'll find you a link. Heck, I could generate an Amazon link. I could do that. Let's see if I can find. So that way I can find and there's a bunch of versions. There's cheaper versions. Finale software. Let's see if they have it. Crescendo software download. Music software. Yeah, there's free ones. Yeah, academic. Finale's not cheap. Yeah, it's like $500. Dang. It's not cheap. I upgraded mine. I've had mine for a long time, and I did spend $600 or something for it. Yeah. So there's cheaper ones. Print music. That's also I think cheaper. Made by Finale. You don't have to use Finale. Actually, a lot of people are using different ones. I would look into it because you can get free ones that are. I tried some of the free ones and they're just not very good. A lot of the composers that I know, they use Sibelius. I think that's how you spell it. And Sibelius is really, really good. But it's also not cheap. You know, but if you work at a school, you know, you might be able to get a discount, or if you're a student, you might be able to get a discount. So that first pattern then, so what we're gonna do is a down, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Change on 1, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, 2, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Look at that rhythm. Look at the notation as you play. Let your eyes track across that. Okay. Now fast, that would sound like this. Kind of a usable. I could see using that. The other thing you could do is instead of hitting the chord on one, you could hit the bass note. Let's see, it'll be like. Okay. All right. So let's do the next one. It's we're gonna put a quarter note on beat 2, so it sounds like this: 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and. Tangled Up in Blue, is that a song? I'm sorry, I need to do something so we can take a sip because I'm thirsty. What should Tom do to make us take a sip? Tom can't think of anything. So fast this one would sound. Okay, and here's the other reason why it's real important to change chords. And you could do G, C, you can do E minor to C or whatever. You could do 5 chords, you can do 6 chords, whatever you want to do. But the reason is all these patterns, even though they're all different, will sound alike if you just play the same chord. You'll lose track of where 1 is. So by changing chord on beat 1, you'll be able to keep track of where 1 is. If you lose where 1 is, then how are you going to know how to hold 2 or hold 3 or hold 4 like these examples show? So fast, this one sounds like, let's see. Again, I don't know how often I would use that pattern. I've probably seen it somewhere. Someone's written that somewhere in music somewhere. But this is, like I said, this is an academic endeavor right now. We're just giving ourselves tools, learning how to play all the combinations. And these are all just, we're skipping upbeats. We're not skipping downbeats yet. Maybe I'll make these tomorrow. Or actually, tomorrow I think we'll see. We're going to mess around. And also help you to read notation, okay? So again, let's play this for the second one, which is holding out beat 2. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Oh, 3. I should know Dylan. I don't know Dylan music very well. I did play in a band called Maggie's Farm for a little while. There's a story there too. 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, let's go to number 3, which is holding or playing a quarter note on beat 3, and it sounds like this: 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and fast. It sounds like. I like that one. You can even kind of exaggerate or to roll out that beat 3. Okay. All right, so let's try this one slowly. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Try to keep your arm moving. Don't go. So you have to quickly move up. I can't even do that. Just keep the arm moving. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Now, what if we were playing these with all downstrokes? I would still move my hand in that gap. Yep. Pretend like your arm's a metronome, like tick tock. So if you look at it like this, it looks like a metronome. 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and 1 and 2. Okay, and these just give you a lot of different things to practice to try to really hammer home that eighth note feel. Okay, and you can swing it too. Okay, I'm probably fairly close to like straight eighths, although I don't think, you know, but the swing would be. Straight always sounds funny after you've been swinging. Roll back. Yeah, I've seen people punch holes. And the talking about picks again, the Wiegand picks, which I really like for bluegrass. In fact, it's a really good pick. They have a bunch of holes there, and that does help. Actually, it does really help with. Yeah, I like it for, it just has a really good sound, and it comes already pre-worn in. You know, it's a handmade, really amazing picks. But I think you get 2 for $15 or something. They're not cheap. Made in France, I think. And that's also the Gypsy picks are Wiegand's. Yeah, I love these for solo. Two broken thumbs. That's a good question. A lot of times the wrist thing for one thing, you really do want to try to relax. And yeah, it can the strum can come from the wrist more like this. 1, 2, or from the arm. It's a lot of it. I think the wrist is going to be a little softer. If you're using your full arm, it's going to be a little louder. I think there's certain styles of music. Also with speed, when you're going really fast, it's hard to move your arm that fast. So when you go fast, it's like if I were to do something like. So basically playing the first one right here. So hard. Boom, 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 boom. Playing the first one really fast. You'll notice that I used less arm movement. I'm mostly using arm movement to really exaggerate for the visual so that you get the sense that you got to keep your arm moving. That's far more valuable. If you were doing, let's say if you went. Not only would it feel awkward, it would sound awkward, and you'll never be able to get up to the speed of it. So it's all about, yeah, so the wrist definitely will provide more, you're right, exactly. Yes, so two broken thumbs, to answer your question, yeah, it can be either. They're both kind of a different feel, but with speed, you're probably going to be less arm and more wrist to get up to speed. But yeah, I think the wrist provide, and you're right, Bruce, the wrist can provide some nuance to the arm movement. So you can even change, even moving your arm, you can change kind of the feel a little bit, or you might find yourself hitting, like if you're using more wrist, you might find yourself with more rolling sensation on the strings than if you're using your arm. You may be going, kind of trying to hit all 6 strings at the same time. So, okay, we have one more rhythm over here, right over there in the corner, right there. And I'm going to go back to my 88. This is 88 millimeter. And let's see what else. Star picks have holes. I don't know star picks. It's been a while since I've been in a small guitar store. You know, it's always guitar centers or something, but a lot of times when I go into little guitar stores, I'll look through the pick thing. They'll have some weird picks that I've never seen before. That's where I got in Michigan. We were up in Michigan at that, there in Ludington, there's a guitar store up there. And that's where we got those like bone picks and the coconut pick I think I got there. And they just had all sorts of weird ones. And I said, I'll take one of each. So that was kind of cool. Next subject. Yeah, if we're going to do a bluegrass lesson, I'll have to have someone else come in here and teach you because I'm not a bluegrass player. I can tell you one trick, though, I think that with bluegrass, and this is also true with jazz. It's kind of true with any style of music. But with bluegrass, it's really just learn a lot of songs. Learn a lot of the melodies. The violin, the fiddle melodies and stuff like that. Learn a lot of those. And then what you can try to do with bluegrass, I feel like one of the things that bluegrass players are really good at is getting that melody. You kind of keeping that melody in there with the strings going, with the chords going too. And then they just kind of start inserting licks. And so before you know it, you're playing the melody. Next thing you know it, you're playing variations on a theme. And then you're playing variations number 2 on a theme. And then you play variations on the variations. And the next thing you know, you're starting to solo and all that. And it's really, for me, it's really tough because it's open string. A lot of times if I'm doing, like Alex and I are jamming bluegrass stuff, I'll go into my, mixolydian scales or something, go into blues scales or whatever, so I can go up the neck and not have to accommodate open strings with my picking hand, because it It always feels funny to pick an open string without a finger on it, you know, when you're used to doing scales up and down the neck. Anyway. Yeah, G. I mean, all the G scales, you know, for G, the G, basically the keys, the chords in the key of G, you know, G, C, D. You learn all of their Mixolydian scales. You learn all of their pentatonic. I mean, that's what I do with when I want to sound like I could play bluegrass on mandolin. I use a lot of pentatonic scales. And then D would be. So you have to avoid the G string on the D pentatonic. It's not my forte, not at all. I like playing around with it. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to try to play. And just I always go, oh man. And Alex is a natural at it. My son, Billy Strings, is the guy you were talking about. That is a really good teacher at that. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, so the bluegrass players are so fast, and that's another thing. Their alternating picking thing is just on. They're like monsters. But the same thing's true with jazz. Like, you know, you just have to learn a lot of songs. With jazz, you just have to learn a lot of songs, and then and gig, and that's the truth with pretty much any style of music. Okay, so let's do this. Go to the E chord, and let's do this last pattern. We haven't done this one yet very much, but at all. It's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and gypsy jazz 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Those guys are rocket players. Sorry, I messed myself up. I was trying to do secret up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Let me play it. Let's do that one with a groove. Let's see what it sounds like fast. Let's see. Sound. Actually, I'm trying to think of a song that I've heard that on. I've never really heard a song with that. That's almost always, we're always doing the, like, we're always putting that at the end of 4, beat 4, so to get us in, to propel us into that next chord, or to hide the fact that we're changing chords, because we are. So to actually hold out a G, or hold out a chord and then change on the next downbeat is interesting. Okay, so I was going to play along with it. Let's do a little bit of the drums at 80. I'm probably going way fast. Well, I know that was way faster than 80 bit. So this is going to be pretty slow. So we'll go back to the E chord, to E sus. 2, 3, 4. 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yeah, Peter. That's a good question, Peter. Let me trying to think of you know, I think it's just a matter of time. Probably like so many other things you'd want to try to learn. I just touched my face so we can take a drink. It's one of the rules. Probably if you start out slower and make sure you're not digging too deep, because you're right, when the deeper you dig in, the deeper you have to dig out, and it's going to slow you down. I say that with you know, when you're doing scale, you're trying to play fast. If your pick is going too far into the guitar, like into the sound hole, you're going to have to bring it out. It's too so. With speed picking, a lot of times one trick to keep it from doing that is to turn the pick at a 45-degree angle, and then you really can't do that, and then you're just kind of almost rolling the pick over the string. But you might be able to turn it a little bit. I wouldn't naturally do that. Excuse me, I'm not sick, don't worry, it's just allergies. But yeah, I'm really kind of envisioning brushing the strings like with a paintbrush. I'm just... So just make sure when you're going slower that you're not digging too deep into the strings. And that will... and again, you might go with a lighter pick, because one of the byproducts of digging too deep is your pick's going to snag. And that'll slow you down too. Okay, so what I was wanting to do, I have some more rhythm variations that I still on this, okay. But let me duplicate this. If I can, let's do this on the fly. Duplicate, boom. Okay, we can call it that. All right. And then what I'm going to do is move this up. So this is here and that's here. They're identical. All right, so I can delete this, and hopefully okay, make sure I didn't change two. No, okay, good. All right. So this is the idea here is to get rid of these and replace them. And I have some new ones that I can put in here. So check this out. So what I'm going to do is I created this would be number 5. Oop. You're watching me work on my computer. All right. And now, so this one here is going to start out over there. So this is the same, basically, as this pattern, okay? Except there's a little accent on one, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import 3 more of these with the accents moving over 1/8 note each time. Oops. Okay. So this one here, the next one will be the one with the little accent note moved over right here. Like thus. All right. So this means we're going to be accenting an upstroke right there. Okay. You can see all those 8th notes grouped in groups of 4, 8 per bar. Down, up, 1 and 2, and all right. If you want to, you can already start playing these. I wish kind of have an automatic like go to the right spot thing, but and I'll put 2 more in here. Okay. This is just like. Tom works. Let's see. I got all sorts of things I can add. I don't know what half of them are, so I'm going to have to do some more research here. Like, oh, cool. I could add a browser in here if I wanted to. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I want. Find the file. this, see, I should have done this earlier. I ran out of time, and then I tried to get to that session. I was working on that session, so I'll just bring this down here. And see, I put the accent on 2. And again, this is very academic, but it's very helpful. It's like, Pepper, are you still there? Pepper got the, has Pepper been here at all? Maybe she hasn't been here all day. But she got the Segovia method, and it indeed had that. Remember, we were practicing playing or doing our warm up, the index, the 1 4 3 4 2 4 3 4 warm up, right? 1 4 3 4 2 4 3 4. And I said, well, if you want to work on your classical technique or your right fingering, go index, middle, and then go middle, index, and you go index, ring, and then ring, index. You go middle A. Okay, no worries. That's good. So index, middle, middle, ring, middle, ring, middle, ring, middle, ring, middle, so on and so forth. And then you go index, middle. Those are all the options. Well, this is exactly what we're doing here. We're creating all the possible options here so that we can practice and have the tools we need to make any kind of musical statement. If we want to put the accent onto, and there's going to be times where you're going to want to put, for example, the accent on the and of 2. That's a really common feel. And so we want to be able to do that. So happy Mother's Day. All right, so this is this is the last one here. So I'm done doing the, go like this. All right. Here we go. Cool. So there's 4 more things we can work on right now. And Kathy, I may upload these to the Discord too. Oh, let me put the Discord link in. I don't know if everybody here, I think it's pretty much everybody on right now is at the Discord. But if you want to, a lot of times they continue the discussion before and after. And then one note, just, be kind to each other and keep the Discord pretty much, we're talking about guitar stuff here. So, keep it on point for the most part. I think that's the link. And so, yeah. All right. So here we go. So this is what these sound like. And we can make them as exaggerated or as subtle as we want. Ultimately, you're going to want to make them fairly subtle. But for the purpose of streaming and getting through the internet, I may make these a little bit exaggerated. But basically, it's just an accent just means to hit that note louder than the other. So you can achieve an accent 2 ways. You can either hit the note louder or you can hit the other one softer, right? So if my volume is here and I want to accent 1, I can do it that way. "100% Peter." Good Wayne's World quote. And then, or I could, here's my groove, and I could just make the others quieter, so it'd be like this. Actually, I thought of a great exercise. The kind of thing they just don't teach you in music school. So, this is so funny because drummers are horribly prone to this. The drummer, say you're in a church situation, the drummer's playing too loud. You tell the drummer, hey, can you quiet it down? And he, not only does he quiet it down, he slows down, all right? And guitar players do this too. So one thing you can do is try to play quieter, but not slower. And then try to play louder and not faster. And it's easy with a metronome. Okay, now the first one sounds like this. Accent on one. Okay, a little harder to accent on the and of one. It sounds like this. It sounds cool though. I love accenting on the upbeats. Okay, the next one, just so I'm going to play them all so you can hear them. The next one sounds like this. Kind of accenting where the snare hit would be. So I almost want to hit accent 2 and 4 when I do just 2. Like this. 4. But don't do that. Just do 2 as a disciplinary thing. Just to give you the tool. Now, how many, are any of our mathematicians here? How many possible variations on this? I think it's called combinatorics. How many possible variations could we have with this accent? I mean, we could technically accent nothing and accent everything. So let's throw those out as being irrelevant in this context. So we could accent any one and or any 2 or any 3, any 4, any 5, any 6, any 7, and then any 7 would be the last one. And so for any 1, there are 8 different variations, right? We could accent 1, the and of 1, the 2, and of 2, so on and so forth, with 8 different variations. And I created all 8 of those. I've only uploaded the first 4 because I didn't get to this beforehand. So was that 1/8 to the 8th power? Yeah, beginners only have 1 volume, I know. That's why I'm showing you this, so that we have more than 1 volume. And so... the other thing is but with 7 accents, then you would have only 1 note be possibly unaccented, so you would also have 8 variations. So how many permutations are there? It's many, okay. Now, yeah, exactly. Combinatorics, I think, is the term. I actually used combinatorics to come up with all the possible chords. You know, somebody said, I need to learn more chords or more G chords. And I said, well, play a G bar chord. How many, show me one you know. Oh, they showed me this. I said, well, 56 chords. And they went, what? Because this actually can be played 56 different ways without moving your hand. You can play these 2 notes, 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 these 2, these 2, these 2, these 2, these 2, these 2, these 2. Ultimately, I think it adds up to 56 permutations. 8 factorial. Yeah, so what would the number be of possible variations? Is it, let's see, this is 6, so the 56 was 6, and I ruled out individual notes because on the G chord, because those would be not chords, it would be notes. And then I did include the full bar chord, I think. Uh-oh. You be careful, Bob. I thought you were bugging out because I was getting into math. Okay. So Bruce is gonna figure it out. I figure Bruce would be one of the ones to be able to figure it out. But in the meantime, while Bruce is figuring it out, let's practice accenting 1, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 3, and change chords to E. You can exaggerate it. Is that right, Hook? I think you're right. Although can you get rid of the 8? I think you can get rid of the 8. Because 8 would be accenting every, and 1 is unnecessary in a multiplication. So, maybe. Well, somebody get out their calculator and figure it out. Okay, so here's the next one. Let's do this one together. This one's I like the accents on the end of the beat. This is really fun. The third one is actually going to be probably the most usable, because oftentimes you're changing chords on the end of 2. Check this out. If I change from E to E sus on the end of 2, it sounds like this. I mean, how many times times have you heard that kind of groove? So being able to accent on upbeats is a really, really good tool to have in your strumming and rhythm playing. Okay? No, there will not be a quiz on the math. Yeah, maybe there will be. Maybe there will be. I may ask you tomorrow. Once we have the number, I may say, what's the number? Yeah, you're all working. You're all working on it. I love that. It's really cool. Trying to figure it out. And we won't be learning all of those. I'm showing you these individual ones, the single ones, because it's a good exercise. And then I will try to, other ones, when you see the accent, you'll know how to do it. The other thing is, I may do some more that are just musical. A real common one is to accent 1, the and of 2, and the and 4. So it sounds like this. I mean, that's real common. I mean, just some great feels just emanate from playing straight eighth notes, but accenting specific ones, which is really cool because it all goes back to this. It just goes right back to this, the beginning of the strumming pattern. So we're definitely. So I'll do another scene like this maybe tomorrow. We'll do the next 4, but let's do these first 4. Yeah, 5,000. I wouldn't be shocked if it was 5,000. I think the 40,000 number might be a little off. Well, it looks like AB. It looks like Hook is getting close, but I'm not sure if he came. Peter, you're right. Okay, so here, so let's do the second one. This is a really nice one. So E-chord, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Just try brushing the strings, Peter, not too hard. Although Peter's probably got ink and paper or pen and paper out right now, or mechanical pencil. 4 and 1. Oh shoot! Let me do the drums because I'm going way too fast. I think for some of you. Yeah. This is 80. Much slower. So 3, 4. 1 and 2. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 Yeah, exactly. Or Kathy, the boring one is these. We're doing ones right now. Those aren't necessarily boring, but 8 would be boring. It would be irrelevant, and 0 would obviously not be one of the answers. But okay, so let's try the second one. We're going to accent beat 2, 1 and 2, and we're gonna. Oh, in fact, that's a great. Temptation here is that when you're playing this accent, your temptation is to change chords on the accent. So what I'm asking you to do is kind of walk down the street, rub your tummy, and pat your head at the same time. I'm asking you to do the accent, but change chords on 1, and we're doing the accent on 2. Or in the second case, what is it right here? Right there. I'm making a lousy weatherman. Right here, this one on the and of 2, or over here on the and of and of 1, and this is on the and of 2. So we don't want to change chords there. The temptation is to go like on that. Let's see, like to change chords there because that's what you're trying to accent, and then you're doing something over here on the left hand. So it's a great way to kind of develop multiple skills at the same time, and that's why going slow is critical because you'll mess up if you try to go too fast. Notice you're hitting with a snare. Yeah, you could probably start with a formula that's just for 4 combinations and see what the formula is to solve that, and then insert 8 instead of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, let's go to the next one, which is the and of 3, or and of 2, which is a very usable accent. 2, 3. Let's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 4 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 and 1 and 2 and 2, 3, 4. Remember when we were doing the electric, we were doing the E9 chord yesterday, and we were doing 16th notes. And I said, you know, kind of envision yourself, see, right here. You think of yourself, I mean, we're just doing this. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a... But when I play this groove and I'm using like an E chord, so we're jamming on an E9 vamp or something, or an E7 vamp. My right hand is just playing that rhythm. The left hand is what's squeezing and creating the chord. So whenever I squeeze, or whenever I make the strings contact the frets, that's when I'm creating the pitch. Other than that, or when I'm creating the chord, other than that, it's just a scrape or a scratch. And I would notate that with X's. I can't remember in Finale how to put an X on the head, on the note head there. I could do it above, but I can't do it on the note head. I'm not sure why. I used to be able to do that, and I can't figure it out now. Oh, thank you, Gary. I'll see you later. Go for it, man. But the thing I was telling you was like, you can think of yourself as like a horn section. When you squeeze that chord, that's like a horn stab. You know, it's like... You know, whatever, you can think of, you can just imagine a horn section. And that's what you're kind of being a horn section. And so with this other pattern that we were just doing, this one that's not written, but I put the accent on 2 and the and of 2, it sounded like this. I almost think of boom, boom, bam, bam. You can almost hear the drummer hit cymbals. Bam, bam, boom, boom, bam, bam, right? Although I did that with downstrokes. Let me do the and of, just so you can hear it. I'll go, well, let me do this one fast. The fourth one here, the one down here, right there. It's so hard. I don't know why it's so hard. The little guy there. Okay, that one sounds fast. It sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I'm doing 16th notes. 1. gotta be really fast. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. What if I accented the and of 2 and the and of 3? What would that sound like? Let's see. Yeah, that's cool. Tom in 3D. But it's just these accents, these different feelings. This is we haven't gotten to this yet, but I always they move you, they make you, and that's why music is so powerful, because you just look at a club and it's like boom, 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 boom. People are moving, you know, they just like do it. And I always equate that to like this, you know, playing doing a snare groove, like I call it my snare groove. So I got the snare hits on 2 and 4. I'm going 1, 2, and so what I can do there though is I can take the snare hit and put it on 3 instead of 2 and 4, and it creates what's called a halftime feel. Okay. And when you go from one to the other, it's just like, it makes everybody almost fall out of their chairs. It's like this. So you can hear the difference between those two. So how a rhythmic accent or a rhythmic pattern can really move you and manipulate you, and that's crazy. If it's 40,000, I was going to show all of them. No, I'm just kidding. I was never going to show all of them. This mic is bugging me. It's too high. Okay, sorry. You're hearing all sorts of. All right. So let's see. Okay, we can do so. Well, how many people do we have on right now? 36. Okay, good to see you all. What's our peak? Oh, it's peak up over here. 45. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. I wasn't expecting many people today because of, Mother's Day. And then, see, tomorrow was Monday, and then Tuesday again, I'm going to have to leave early. So I probably will only be on for like an hour because we're going to film 2 more weekend services at church. And we may be doing this for a while this way, but I'm actually hitting the strings. I have, if you go to I do a whole lesson on it. If you go to my playlist, it's, let's see, strumming. Boom, boom, ba-da, boom. So let's see, I'll find the specific lesson. Oh, come on, did I not? The snare hit, yeah, here it is. What, did I post this twice? Oh, I put it in the thing twice. That's funny. I can't. I wish I could create a. So I did a whole video on this, and I call it the snare hit. And oops, basically what I'm doing is, I'm muting the strings with my right hand, my strumming hand, at the same time that I'm stroking them, that I'm hitting the strings. So I'm basically going like this. So I'm hitting the strings like this, and then, so I don't have to even have a chord. I could have nothing on there. And you can practice that. I would practice it with open strings. So you can, because you don't want, you want, you really want to try to deaden, get the side of your hand on the strings just as you hit, or just before. So let's see. Yes, Kathy, I'm doing them every day. There's a bell icon on my channel. If you go to my channel, you can click on that and you will get a notification that says Tom is online now. Or you'll get a notification anytime I post a new video. I am doing this every day. So for now, while we're kind of in lockdown mode. And so you can go back and they're all 54 of them are there. I've got to do some homework. I got some homework. I've got to do some homework where I actually make sure that everything's in a playlist and all that. I got to go back a few lessons, but basically you can go, I think if you go to my YouTube channel, you can hit videos and then there's a tab for maybe live streams and you can see all the live streams. And I'm not sure if they put them chronologically forward or backwards. You can probably sort them that way, however way you want to do it. Yeah, I'm LA at 11 o'clock every day. If you're in New York, East Coast, it would be 2 p.m. I'm sorry for my Australian subscribers. See you later, Roger. Roger's already gone. And there will be no quiz on any of this. No. So these are basically rhythms, and I will upload them to the Discord at some point, but they will just be individual ping files, just screen caps that I've done. So you may want to download them and then kind of organize them yourself in like a Word doc and then print them up. That works really well. Okay, so yeah, and these tend to go about. I tend to go about an hour and a half to 2 hours. Although, like I said, on Tuesday I'm probably going to just go an hour, and then I have to head over to church and get ready. I'll probably be dressed up a little bit more too, and at least it's not going to be hot, so I can wear my jacket and everything. I like to wear a jacket. But generally I'm going for a couple hours almost every day. So crazy. Originally I was only going to do 30 minutes and it just turned into, yep, it's story time. So, so Diane, I told you that, where I said that I was going to talk about, Jeff Porcaro. If you don't know who Jeff Porcaro is, he is one of my favorite drummers. Great feel. Pretty sure that's the spelling. Yeah, I played drums for Toto. I mean, if you look up if you go to, what's that, Discogs, All Music, any of those, but if I look up Jeff Porcaro, it says artist, but you basically click on credits. Oh my gosh. Well, it has 999 credits on Discogs. Wow. Jack Daughtry, the class of 1971. What the heck? That's interesting. I wonder what that is. Sonny and Cher, 1973. Sonny and Cher. Seals and Crofts, he played on Diamond Girl. 1973. What year was he born? 54. So he was, and his dad is still, Joe Porcaro is still doing sessions as a percussionist and drummer. Crazy. Still playing in movies and things. He played on a bunch of Seals and Crofts records. I had all of these records. 73. So he was 19 years old. This is why I got depressed when I turned 20. Here, I'll put the link down here so you can check it out. That's why I got depressed when I turned 20, because I was still in Indiana, and I had not, people I was, really interested in following, and I was buying albums with all these people on the records. They were all in their teens when they started doing sessions in LA, and I'm like, I don't even know anyone in LA, and I'm not there yet, and I just turned 20. Oh, it's never going to happen. And so that was, for me, that was kind of depressing. But yeah, Seals and Crofts when he was 19. Steely Dan, he played on Pretzel Logic when he was 20 years old. Joe Cocker, Steely Dan. Juice Newton, Tommy Boylan, Bonnie Raitt. Steely Dan played on Katy Light. His picture's on the back of Katy Light. In fact, he looked just like me. that picture on Katie Lai, the back cover, he's going like this, and I had the same glasses when I got married. I had those same glasses, and it's funny. Let's see, Fifth Dimension, Seals of Crofts again. Let's see, Cher, Les Dudek. A lot of people I'd never heard of. Jackson Browne, John Sebastian. Welcome Back. He played on that song, Welcome Back. Unbelievable. Robert Palmer, I knew that. Boz Scaggs. He played on all the Boz Scaggs stuff, the big hits. Leo Sayer, big hits for Leo Sayer. And, I mean, it's just Eric Carmen, Lee Ritenour, of course, a lot of records that I was a fan of he was playing on, but they were like more instrumental jazz stuff. Mickey Thomas, Paul Williams, Elliot Randall, Boz Scaggs, Barbra Streisand, the Streisand Superman album he played on. And that was 77, so that's right at the beginning of Toto. The Toto album's probably in here somewhere. Or maybe that's on a separate list. Yeah, and that's just the first 100. It's crazy. So, he was very, very influential. Very big. I heard a story about him that he didn't like to do solos. In fact, I think it was Michael Jackson had hired him to play on a record, and he said, "I want you to play a solo on this," and he wouldn't. And it was Michael Jackson, and so they actually, I think, hired Vinnie Colaiuta to play an 8-bar drum solo in the middle of the song. So they kept Jeff's drumming for the most of the song, and then on the solo they had someone else come in and do the solo. But the story I heard was from not Lenny Castro. I know Lenny. Lenny played percussion with Toto, but Luis Conte, who plays with everybody. I mean, he's got some crazy stories, and he still tours to this day. I think he still tours with James Taylor. He plays percussion with James Taylor, and he's just a great guy. He escaped Cuba when he was, I think, 15 years old. And he is just an amazing drummer or percussionist. And I've done a few sessions. Yeah, no worries, no worries, Bruce. So Luis was telling me about, he played on a Bruce Springsteen record. And Bruce, normally it would have been, what's his name? Weinstein. The drummer. And I think that was probably when he was playing with was on, not Conan, but on Letterman. No, it was Conan. He was not doing the Conan show. Maybe he was kind of backing off his responsibilities for Max Weingard, something like that. Max, the drummer. And so Jeff played on the Springsteen record. And so, a couple months passed, they finished mixing the record or whatever. And Luis gets a call from Jeff Porcaro, and Jeff goes, "Guess who called me today?" And Luis says, "Who?" And he said, "Bruce Springsteen." And Luis said, "Well, what did he want?" He goes, "He wanted me to go on tour with him." And Luis said, "Well, what did you tell him?" And he said, "I told him no." And he said, "Well, really?" And he goes, "Yeah, he offered me $1 million to go on tour with him." And you said no to that? And he goes, "Yeah." I said, and Jeff really was, he really liked doing session work. And I don't think he wasn't really into touring at all. Really didn't like it. I don't think he liked it with Toto either. I just read Lukather's biography or autobiography, and I think there's something there about that. But anyway, so a couple days pass, and and he said, "Oh, you offered him $1 million." He said, "Why did you say no?" And he goes, "Well, he said, my kids are, I got 2 kids, and, my wife, and I like being with my family. I don't want to be away from my family for that long." So 2 days later, he calls Luis, and Luis says, "Hey, Jeff." And Jeff says, "Hey, guess who called me?" And he goes, "Who?" And he goes, "Bruce Springsteen." So what did Bruce want? He said, "I'll pay you $1 million. You can bring your family. I'll hire a nanny to take care of the kids when you don't want to have them around anymore. You want to go on a date with your wife, and I'll hire a tutor that will teach them so that you can basically homeschool them on the road." And Luis said, well, really, what did you tell him? He said, no. I said, nah. He said, he goes, why? What did you give? What excuse did you give him? And yeah, Max Weinberg. And he said, well, my carpal tunnel is really bad, and Bruce does these 3-hour shows, and I just don't think I could play for 3 hours. And Luis said, well, that makes sense. And 2 days later, Jeff calls Luis again. Guess who called me? And Luis said, let me guess, Bruce Springsteen? He goes, yeah. He said, what did he want? He said, he'll pay me $1 million. I can bring the family. He'll fly everybody. They can stay. You'll have your own suite. I'll hire a nanny and a tutor. And you can play the shows. And if your carpal tunnel is at all bothering you, you set the sticks down and I'll have a drummer behind you to take your place. Kid you not. This is what Luis told me. And so Luis was like, really? That's crazy. He said, what did you tell him? And Jeff said, I told him no. I guess Bruce wasn't used to getting no for an answer. It was Bruce Springsteen. I was like, how many people would say no to Bruce Springsteen? But he's one of those tours, it's like Paul McCartney, Elton John, Billy Joel. Those were like the big tours. Today it's like Beyonce and Rihanna. Those are like the killer tours. Michael Jackson. I mean, I think I read at one point Michael Jackson was paying Sugarfoot, Jonathan Moffat, the drummer, $40,000 a week to tour with him. Or maybe it was $30,000 a week, and then Madonna paid him $40,000 a week to steal him from Michael Jackson. It was crazy. So it was kind of a good thing that Jeff said no, or maybe not. I don't know. But he ended up dying just a few months later, and that time he did spend a lot of time with his kids. So his kids have some memories, I think, of him. Although they were both pretty young. I'm pretty sure it was 2 kids. I'm having a hard time remembering, but yeah, it was. That's just a crazy, story of a great drummer, and it really misses playing. I mean, I hear it all the time, and it's just like the groove from Rosanna. It's a must know for every drummer. Every drummer has to know how to play the groove to Rosanna. It's a foregone conclusion. So anyway, on that note, yeah, a whole lot more accomplished Hook. Yeah, no kidding. Kathy, God bless you. I hope you liked my Michigan story yesterday, the Manistee story. I will, hopefully, Lord willing, I'll be here tomorrow, and you guys take care of each other and take care of yourselves, okay? Tom with buttons. And I'm wearing this shirt because my daughter graduated yesterday from Ozark Christian. Unfortunately, they didn't get to walk, but God bless her. She got through it, and I'm done. I'm done with pain. Paul, I think he had, I think it was a heart attack or something. He'd done a lot of coke back in the day, although he had been clean and sober, I think. And I think they attributed it to that. You'd have to look it up, but I think he was if my memory serves me, he was actually spraying herbicide in the backyard, and it may have triggered. He may have inhaled it or something. It may have triggered a respiratory thing that triggered a heart attack, I think, is what happened. And it was very sad. It was pretty long time ago, actually, now. So no worries. You're welcome. You're welcome, Hook. Good to see all of you. Hopefully I won't be fumigating the garden today, and I'll be here tomorrow. We're all fragile. We all have to take care of each other. But good to see you all. Good to see you, Reed. David. Reed, sorry to hear about your loss. And Paul Becker. Good to see you. Diane, Rick, Jan. Jan is here. Peter, good to see you as always. Zen, AJ, my scribe. Gary is the Moses. Let's see. Bruce. So many people. I'm scrolling through everybody now. Leo is here. Everybody. Anyway, take care of yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow, and we'll pick up where we left off. We'll do some more accenting, okay? Take care. Bye-bye.